Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to season 3 and episode number 363 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Yeah.
Well, that was different.
All right, I'll do it. The Crier Media Network.
There we
Yeah. Da-da-da-da. Today, recording day is Thursday, April 18th, 2024. And it is a rainy day. Definitely a rainy day. April showers will bring me on flowers. You know, it's been pretty rainy the last week, and normally that makes me I don't really get any seasonal affective disorder or that type of thing, but every now and then you just want like some sun, and right now I'm actually quite okay with it given the water table. So it's just like, bring it on, steady doses, no big flood drops or something like that, or cloud, just a little bit every day. And for those who remember, last year or last fall, I had planted some crocus bulbs on the front lawn, and then about 2 days later, I saw like holes all over the place where squirrels. And I thought, oh, damn, they're not going to have any more. Well, so far, more than half have popped up so far. So, yay! Seems I did good. A big thank you goes to our podcast funding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. As you can hear, with me as always is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. And sir, how's your mental health today?
It's I think it's pretty good.
Okay.
I was at the memorial, the celebration.
Yes. Well, we should tell people actually first, because they don't know. Recently, there's someone on the online community in Twitter went by the handle Scribbulatora on Shitter or Zitter or Twitter or whatever, or whatever he's calling it. Her real name was Catherine. She was a delightful soul, very, very well informed, cared a lot about politics. When we say democracy is something that you do, she was engaged. She was not. She did not believe it was a spectator sport. She believed in temperance. Our comments were always had a tone that was, calm and not prone to fly off the handle or go into hyperbole. Just one of those accounts that's tempered, and when you could always rely on the quality and on the content. And even though Scribbulatora and I, or Catherine and I, had never met in person, there's a lot of what she has written over the years because
Mm.
the show we're closing our third year, but it was a blog for a while. There's a lot of what she has said that either influenced or found a way a bit or a piece or chunk in a lot that I've done throughout the years. So basically, I've stolen and have been inspired from her a lot. So yesterday, there was a gentleman named Bruce Fanjoy, and his name might be familiar to you because he is running in the Carleton electoral district to unseat Pierre Poilievre. He's been very visible and very active in terms of going on knocking on doors like for over a year now, maybe
Mhm.
close to 2, to start making the case. And I'm guessing that they did know each other and inspire each other.
They did.
And he held a sort of get together at a pub last night in order to honor her. And Mr. Grizzly, you went, so I will allow you to take it from there.
Yeah, I was able to attend because it's literally just up the street from me. It's a bit of a walk, but not a big deal. It's it's a pub I've been to countless times over the last 30 years, 30 some odd years, I think, since it opened. So I walked in and there was a retirement party going on in the front, and they said, "Oh yeah, the memorial's in the back section by the stage." So I walked over, and sure enough, there was Bruce. I met Bruce right away and had a nice chat with him, and a group of other people who were there. I'm not name dropping because I don't want to do that, but it's somebody who I've been familiar with. I'll say, how you doing? I've seen her and her partner and her daughter at the Lieutenant's Pump countless times for dinner. And I was, hey, how's it going? Because you see somebody familiar in the neighborhood, but we never actually chatted until last night. And I walked in, I go, I introduced myself, and I go, wait a minute, I know you. And she goes, I know you from the pump. So we had a nice chat, and let's just say I had a chat with Bruce about coming on the show at some point, and he says, "Look, let me." I said, "No pressure, no rush. If you want to come in sometime, by all means, please do so. I understand you're very busy right now. I get it. We're not offended, not in the least. But the invitation is open." Extended the invitation
Good,
to James
good.
as well, and had a chance to have a nice chat with James. I said, and
Oh, good.
if you want to join us someday for a
I like
podcast,
him.
it'd be wonderful if you could join us sometime. He says, I might do that.
Yeah. For
He's
those
very
listening at home again, James is handle at dread_Tory
yes.
on Shitter. Again, sorry, Mr. Grizzly.
So we had a lovely chat. There was some just wonderful people there who were really, saying how much they were influenced by Scribbulatura, myself included, talking about how one of the things I learned from reading her writing, and you helped help me with this as well, was to curb my wanton desire to fly off the handle and drop expletives at people who are being arseholes. Try and come at them with a tempered, level-headed, communicative stance so that maybe you can get them to talk with you. She was really good at that. Me, less so. But I did work in construction for 29 years, so you have to understand old habits die hard, and when you're used to dealing with people who can be rather knuckle-dragging Neanderthalic, and I'm not saying that that's what the construction world is like. I'm not saying that. I worked in it. But you will encounter people like that. You'll encounter people like that everywhere, in every profession,
Right.
period. Okay?
Trust me, you will.
You will. But I still have this tendency to fly into defensive mode and get ready. I'm a goaltender. I was a defenseman. That's my stance. You get picked on a lot when you're a child. You get into this mode and you stay there. So as I'm trying to be less abrasive in my defensiveness, I'm trying to temper it with, inviting conversation, which is what the whole ASMR channel is about.
Mhm.
But one of the things I had said to James and Bruce was that, the crowd was that I learned to temper my temper, to bring it down, to dial it back, to think, and James said, sometimes she would write something and read it and then delete. And that's often good. Write that angry email, don't send it. Read it, sit on it for a bit, think about it, and then come back and go, oh yeah, that was a lot of anger. Let's just dispense with the anger and come back at it with a level-headed thought process, which is not, like I said, it's not always easy to do, especially when you worked in an abrasive environment. And abrasive by the fact that when you work in construction sites, you're hearing, and I'm not even referring to the people, it's constant noise, constant hammering, constant nailing, drilling, the sound of skyjacks backing up constantly. It's just it's a chaotic environment, and it's a dangerous one. So you're always ready to go. So I'm trying to curb myself of that. My current line of work helps that greatly because I get to deal directly with wonderful people who want to be wonderful to me. I guess I went on a bit of a diatribe tangent there, but what I'm trying to say is Scribulator's writing has helped me tremendously. It's also taught me an awful lot about the political system in this country. And everyone that was there basically had, very similar things to say. Her writing was so brilliant, so insightful, so tempered, and so
And it's
dead
not
on
like
accurate.
she couldn't have an edge,
Oh no. She
but it was
chose
tempered.
not to. Yeah, it was a tempered edge.
Yes, like I have a tweet from her at one point, and when we were talking about, the conservatives opposing the free trade deal with Ukraine, and it's like, imagine the lack of self-awareness and outright arrogance in thinking that another sovereign nation that has accepted climate change requires an opposition party in another country to quote fight the carbon language on their behalf. That is the weakest sauce imaginable. So
Yes.
she had an edge.
Oh yeah.
She could throw down,
Oh yes.
but not one swear word, not one insult,
No.
not one punch down. Just like, I see you, I see it, I call it. And that was the thing about her. She was great. I don't know this for myself, but is James Catherine's husband?
No, they were partners.
Partners?
They weren't married.
Okay, partners. He announced it to us by saying, Catherine passed away earlier this week after a brief battle with cancer, surrounded by those who loved her. I know she touched many on this platform over the years. To them, this news will come as a dreadful blow. It's a loss beyond calculation. It scarcely seems real. Yeats once wrote, quote, in dreams begin responsibility. Catherine kept this sign in a place where she would see it immediately upon waking each day. In word and deed, Catherine admirably discharged her responsibility to help foster a society where integrity and compassion prevail, relations of reciprocal obligation are nurtured, and love is acknowledged as the supreme law. That responsibility is also ours. Let us brace ourselves to the task, and let us never capitulate, retreat, or flinch. Let's not make Catherine have to come back and kick our asses. And I'm glad he said that, because she will, and she will find you, and she will haunt you until you surrender.
Yeah.
So if you're on Twitter, keep it cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I've not always done that, and I can't say I'm always going to be cool-headed and level-headed in the future.
There's a time
can't
and place
say
to not be.
And that's true. There is a time and place to not be. That is absolutely true. There are times when you need to get your hackles up, right?
But they are not every day, every week. It's like they come up like this. I've had one
I've had
in the
more
last
than
2-3 years, and that was the day that guy stepped off his porch and said the F word at us.
And it didn't end in UCK.
Yes, it was not an invitation to a good time. Let's put it that way.
No.
So,
No.
So for and this is a beautiful thing here that's going on online. For some people that were there or people that were not there at some point yesterday, a lot of people were putting a tribute of a glass, and this one was my favorite because here's the Scribulatora and a little doggy treat for Molly, who was one of her loves, and because pets are family, and had crossed the Rainbow Bridge before she did. So hopefully Molly's having a wonderful time playing fetch or something, or getting some good squitches wherever they both are right now.
Indeed.
So thank you. And just to put a point on it, because James is her partner, James is equally that kind of an influence. So
I thanked him
I
personally last night for his writing. I said,
I
and
would
how eloquent
yeah
he writes.
yeah I would say that they were probably a match made on earth and in heaven.
Agreed.
So I could see the
Agreed.
connection of the minds there. These are two people that were probably not only in love with each other, but in love with each other's minds.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Who are we to say? Well, I don't know. You just look at the
I
writing.
don't know them well enough, but I can just tell us that you can't get two people who write like that have this calm disposition. Can't say that I cannot imagine a reality in which that would not have been a mutual adoration society.
Agreed.
I just can't. So to put a point on that, when I first heard of her passing, and when I saw the tributes coming in, and my first thought was, "Oh no, no." But I mean, she had been battling cancer, and she was open about it.
I didn't
but
know
when
it,
I
man.
saw the but when I saw the all the tributes, my might be a little selfish to think that, but one of my first thoughts was, wow, because online sometimes can seem impersonal. And, because, I have my online friends. Well, those are not really friends you never met in real life. Some online friends actually are. You'd be really surprised. There's a lot of people that says, I've never met her, and so I can't believe I'm so affected. But yeah, there are people. So you never know the way you play a role in people's lives. And never occurred to me that just being online, often not even showing your face on Twitter over a period of time, that you could be someone who plays such a role in someone's life. And now that I know it's possible, the first thought that came to me is, gee, when my time comes, I hope that the people that I've met and that I know from online only, I can only hope and wish that they think as highly of me as they think of her. So, okay. I can't even say not the start I think was going to get, because yes, I know we wanted to talk about that to open. So, but I'm actually a little
verklempt.
When verklempt, no, not so much, but sometimes when you get that energy right here in the sort of sternum solar plexus, that's sort of like you're vibrating a little bit when something means something to you. And got a little bit of that going on there. So that's, if you see me go a couple of times, that's me trying to get some of that energy out. All right. Moving on. Okay. So we had the budget, and a couple of things happened. But one of the things that happened is yesterday was the day that the whole social media went, oh, but won't someone please think of the 0.13%?
Pretty much.
So I don't know if this is a thing, but yesterday I spotted a whole bunch of accounts that had CFP in their handle. I'm guessing that's for Certified Financial Planner. And I don't know if there's something that says blue check mark plus CFP in your handle equals arsehole. But I encountered 3 of them, and it was 3 for 3, batting 1,000 on, okay, you tell me that I'm missing the point on this capital gains inclusion about how it's so unfair. Because it's like, oh my God, the rich, people really took a big hit. It's like, you didn't take a hit. You were slightly tickled with a feather. No, it's a big hit. No. A big hit would have been 75, 80% inclusion rate, plus a wealth tax, plus a tax on corporate excess profits. That would have been a hit. You got tickled by a mild feather. 300,000 of the largest trusts and companies are getting affected by that. People are going like this, well, what about the doctor that makes $250,000 a year? Well, it's like, if you're a doctor and all you make is $250,000 a year, you don't have another source of income, and all that $250,000 is considered capital gains, let's just say,
Mhm.
at most, because I'm not sure if it's like 250,000 and up or 249,999 and lower, at worst, you're affected on one whole dollar.
Yeah. It's literally above that threshold.
So 300,000 of the largest corporations and trusts and 40,000 of the richest Canadians reporting an average income of $1.4 million a year. If neither of these are you, you are not affected
At all. So
at all. And your principal
settle down.
residence is not affected at all. So you have all these people. And here's the thing, also on the media, like all this breathless coverage about, oh my God, investment, and people. And it's like, it was one thing in the budget that affects 0.13%, and they're giving it media attention like, if you sell your house tomorrow, you are screwed. And it's like,
That's not what's happening.
No.
The amount of mis and disinformation and outright lies I'm reading online, it's just disturbing.
But the amount of coverage this is getting, as opposed, oh my God. So, and here's the thing, they raised one tax. One tax. And it's like, it's the only taxation to the negative in terms of money coming in and out of your pocket in the budget at all. There's no wealth tax on high earners. There are actually taxation changes for the better. For example, there's a lifetime exemption for selling a firm, fishing enterprise, or small business. So those are exemptions. There's an entrepreneur tax credit to encourage startups.
Oh, looks like I don't know what happened there.
Oops, sorry. There's an entrepreneur tax credit to encourage startups and scale-ups to grow their business. There's the small and medium businesses, about 600,000 of them. They probably wouldn't be affected by this, but that are going to get that are going to get a carbon rebate now. So it's not like, it's like, oh, they came in, they raised taxes on you again. It's like, it's not on you. Number one.
Yes.
So
let's address the people leaving Canada, shall we?
You need to calm down. Yes, exactly. And then you got all these people going, it's like, right away, it's like, oh my God, it's like, how many people are getting ready to sell their house before the June 25th deadline or whatever? It's like, don't do that.
Yes, everybody's going to sell their house at the same time. Who's going to buy them? Corporations. We'll have 4 landlords in the country.
Yeah.
Welcome it's sort to the of like feudal system.
I know. It's sort of like, well, gee, I'm selling my house now. It's like, great, the plan's working already. More housing available.
Yeah.
Thank you, Trudeau. Oh my God, I can't believe this. I'm going to move to another country or I'm going to get my taxes treated better. Really? Because last I saw you were a chiropractor. If you see anybody saying, hey, or trying to pitch you, hey, you want to sell your house before the deadline so you don't have don't do it. We usually don't give financial advice on the show, but this one, don't do it. It's a trap.
Well, I guess yesterday in the House of Commons during question period, Poilievre just came out and flat out said, we will cut the rent. How? Yeah. How are you going to do that?
Yeah. He's just saying, he's just, I don't even want to talk about him other than the little bit, then we absolutely have to if we're going to show some reaction. Now, how would I put it? Okay. So we have Mr. Jagmeet Singh, because the next question usually, while everybody's crying, while all the rich people are crying themselves out that they're going to have to pay a little more, well, they're very, very sensitive souls, rich people. They're very misunderstood. It's like, it's hard. It's really hard having so much money and thinking about all the ways to make sure that even though you have too much, someone doesn't get a cent of it. That you don't do anything to help. And here's the other, it's like, we're going to take all our money and go elsewhere. It's like, no, they're not. No, they're not. Canada is a country that's safe. It is stable. It is secure. It is free. Corporations that come here, unlike the United States, don't necessarily have to cover healthcare. You get access to one of the healthiest and most educated workforces in the entire world.
I know.
You do not have to hire tons of security to keep your thing, your plant or whatever, safe because someone from the community who is starving is going to come and try to burn it up. You got a good thing here. You get a lot
I know American
for your
companies
taxes.
that
business
opened
people.
offices here. I'm like, why did they open their head office here? Because guess what? In Canada, we have health care, and the company doesn't have to pay for health insurance.
Yes. If you want to bring people in from around the world to come to work, they're happy to come to Canada.
Yeah.
So it's like rich people, you get a lot for the taxes you avoid paying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perhaps zip it. Yeah. Less greedy, more grateful. The greedy part is what got you a bigger inclusion.
Kind of what I was saying.
Because you weren't willing to do it on your own, we had to do it for ourselves.
That's kind of what I was saying yesterday in my words of wisdom at the end of yesterday's show. A little heated, maybe a little less tempered, and not very polite, but effectively the same thing. You say zip it, I say shut your freaking pie hole. Like, really? You know how much money I paid in taxes last year? Yeah, triple what I earned. Shut up.
Yeah. Take a tip from Mark Twain. It is better to keep your mouth closed and let everybody think you are a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt.
Yes.
Right? Just like, ugh, these people. We had the interesting part about this budget here is people are wondering about Mr. Singh, Mr. Jagmeet Singh, because he made a couple of interesting moves prior to the budget being down. It kind of started saying that, there was a vote in the House of Commons, let's put it this way, on to whether or not to have the meeting that everybody seems to be asking on the carbon tax and whatnot to the premiers. And it seems that the NDP voted with the Conservatives and said, yes, we should have this meeting. Now, you have to understand, right? The NDP, well, first of all, if you think of environment stuff, we think of the Green Party. But we always stereotypically would think of the NDP as being the party that would be most pro reducing GHGs or pro measures for the environment because they are to the left of the Liberals. And even though environmental conservation traditionally on paper was a conservative issue, now because, everything is like left versus right, it seemed to be a left thing. Yes. So you would think that it would be the NDP, the traditional conscience of the nation, that would say, hey, the nation is burning. Let's maybe do something about that. But it seems that when it comes to the environment, it's been the Liberals that have had the stronger track record. They have the stronger program. Even in the last election, everybody was just like, NDP, what did you do? You just surrendered the whole environment question to the Liberals. They put out their plans, and the NDP plan was just atrocious. It didn't even come close to what the Liberals were putting up. So for some reason, the NDP is, I'm not going to say not all on board, but plays some fast and loose every now and then. And I guess Mr. Singh saw this as an opportunity to get some contrast with the Prime Minister by saying, hey, yeah, we should have this meeting. And then I guess he must have gotten an earful. Because saying, hey, the meeting, that seemed to be a first flip-flop. And then 2 days later, he came back and said, oh, don't think that just because I asked for the meeting, it doesn't mean that I don't support carbon pricing. The purpose of the meeting from the premiers is to say, hey, you don't let us do it our own way. When the law is expressly written, say, hey, you get first crack at doing it your own way. And if it doesn't meet a standard, then we come in. So Jagmeet Singh, you just asked for a meeting voted in the House, given the impression PR-wise that maybe you weren't all in on carbon pricing, in order to have a meeting to discuss, allegedly, changing the way we do things to the way we do things. Dude. And then you had to flip-flop 2 days later. Whoa, maybe not. This man is not very smart. I know that you have to try and find some contrast, but my God, you have to pick your moments. You have to pick your moments, and this one wasn't it. This one definitely wasn't it. So Mr. Grizzly stepped away. So I'm trying to look for some video of his reaction so that I can play it for you. And so I'll have to wait for Mr. Grizzly to come back for that. Indigenous people and the disabled community are the people who have the most legitimate gripe about what's going on, because the disability benefit was definitely not all, not even close to what people thought it would be, or I'd hoped it would be. And especially with after all of that consultation and all of that delay, it's, we have to make sure we get it right and stuff. For that to come out, that was like wah, 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 wah. And I do not know why the Liberals did that, because in one way it's almost like, why did you even bother then? If you're going to do, you were really going to half-ass it that way. And you can't even say half-ass. It's like 1/10 ass it, like you did. And then for the Indigenous community, and I had not noticed that when I listened to the budget speech, but even though the word Indigenous appears in the budget document over 400 times, it was not mentioned once in the budget speech. The word Indigenous nor reconciliation. And there was a big request from the Indigenous community with regard to having a sizable down payment put on the infrastructure deficit within in the Indigenous communities. And while there was a little bit for that, it was pretty much a trickle. So these are the two groups that I would have expected having the wall-to-wall, oh my God, isn't this terrible coverage? But yeah. No, instead we had people on Bloomberg saying, hey, I sold my corporation for $500 million. Oh my God. It's like, fuck off. Just
500 million. Eh?
500 million I sold my business for, and now I have to pay more. Fuck off.
Yeah, again, like I said, you spent more and paid more in taxes than I earned last year by multitude. I really don't care. I worked hard for that. Yes, you worked hard for 500 million. Let's get realistic. Anybody who gets that rich, I'm sure you have put hard work in. But I have said to people who have said, well, you know what, this is going to cost me? And I go, oh, right. Do you equate hard work to earnings? Of course. I go, so why am I not a freaking billionaire? They shut up real quick when I hit them with that one. They're And you were saying? You were saying? No. They clam up real quick. Hard work does not equate to earning or income. It simply doesn't.
There's no relation.
None.
No relation.
Zero.
I mean, let's put it this way. If it went on hard work, baseball players would be being paid like teachers, and teachers would be being paid like baseball players.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like,
firefighters would be billionaires.
Right.
Soldiers, police officers, first responders. You know how much more money they should be paid for what they do? You're going to tell me that isn't hard work?
Yeah. And as well paid as doctors are?
Yeah.
Surgeons that save your life? Give them a boost too.
Give them a boost.
So, you need to calm down.
Well, I saw.
You're being too loud.
I saw a thing online the other day from Mark Cuban, who I follow on Twitter, and somebody said, "Oh yeah, well, how much you paying taxes?" He goes, "I'm sending a check for $288 million tomorrow." They're like, "What?"
And I'm happy to pay it.
Yeah, he's like, "I am happy to pay it." Because that's what you do to live in a country like this, where you have all the opportunities to create what we've created.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Cuban is a decent human being for a billionaire.
For a billionaire.
Well, I mean, come on. Most billionaires are not exactly good people, but Mark Cuban walks the walk and talks the talk.
Yep, indeed.
He does.
Now,
So
I
you have a
wanted
clip
to.
here for me.
Yeah, I don't. Do we have time for it? Though I know you have a hard out in about
Yeah,
4 minutes.
like 5 minutes.
It's about 4 minutes.
Okay, let me just see if I can cue it up here.
All right. So we'll show one reaction. It's Mr. Jagmeet Singh speaking. And if you would, kids and cubs, I would like to propose a drinking game.
Boy.
Every time you hear him say the word force or forced or any variation of force, please have a sip.
Well, it better be coffee, because if it's whiskey, you'll be hammered out of your skull in 5 minutes. That's how long this clip is. Here we go. Let's have a look at this.
I do not see anything.
Oh, sorry.
Look at this.
Look at
Nothing
this.
happens.
It helps if I turn it on. There we go. There we go. I got to turn it on.
Give you a quick sec. You're all in position. Okay. There are some things in this budget that we fought for, that we spent time hearing from Canadians, and we forced this government to deliver.
Whoop.
Those include protections for renters. Renters live in constant fear that they're going to get rent-evicted or kicked out of their homes because large corporate landlords want to buy those buildings and then evict them. We forced this government to put in place a renters protection fund, something that we've been calling for over a year. And that's going to help people stay in their homes and keep some of those affordable units affordable. We fought to force this government to bring in some relief for parents and kids, so that kids, when they go to school, can get a nutritious meal with a national school food program. That's going to give some relief to parents. It's going to take one thing off their plate, save them money. We also forced this government to move forward on covering free birth control, free diabetes medication, and devices. That's going to save thousands of dollars for millions of Canadians. We forced this government to bring down the...
Okay, this is ridiculous. You didn't force anybody to do anything. You have a supply and confidence agreement where you work together to make these things happen.
I keep it rolling. Only on my fifth shot.
Cost for Canadians. That's some relief in a time when Canadians are really feeling squeezed. We forced this government to deliver that. Let's be absolutely clear. This would have never happened but for the fact New Democrats forced the Liberals to give this relief to Canadians, to give a bit of a break to Canadians. There are some concerns, though. We're concerned about the fact that the Liberals ignored the opportunity to take on corporate greed. We know the major driver that is driving up the cost of living is corporate greed. When it comes to buying groceries and you're paying more than ever before, that's corporate greed. When you're paying some of the highest cell phone and internet fees in the world, that's corporate greed, driving up the cost of your cell phone and internet fees. When you look at trying to find a home and speculators keep on driving up the cost of housing, and corporate landlords are scooping up all the available housing, that is corporate greed that's making it harder for people to find a home. That is a major problem. That makes life
with any of
unaffordable.
that.
And the Liberals failed to use the opportunity they had to take on corporate greed. But let's also be clear about the Conservatives. The Conservatives want to take this all away from you. They want to take away childcare. They've been open about that. Pierre Poilievre wants to take away childcare. He wants to take away dental care from seniors, even though he's had it for most of his adult life paid for by taxpayers. He wants to take that away from seniors. He wants to take away pharmacare from people that need that extra support. He wants to take that away, and he wants to cut further. He wants to cut healthcare. He wants to cut pensions. He wants to cut EI. He is going to make things even worse for Canadians. But there are some concerns we have in this budget as well, and I want to lay out some of those concerns we have. We're concerned about the disability benefit that we fought for being only $200 a month. That is far too little to meet the needs of people living with disabilities. We're concerned that this government has not laid out the plan to address the gap in infrastructure and housing funding for Indigenous communities. That's a serious concern. We're concerned about the loss of 5,000 public sector employees. Serious concern as well. So we've got some serious concerns in this budget. There's things that we fought for, and we're going to continue to use our power as we have throughout this minority government to fight for Canadians to make Ottawa.
Okay, and that is NDP Leader Jagmeet.
So, one note on that, the NDP leader came up to give that scrum 8 minutes into the budget speech being read.
Yeah, so he hasn't even read the whole damn thing yet.
Well, they probably got
and
lock up and all that kind of stuff, and messages caught back and forth and whatever. But yeah, he didn't even have the respect to stay in the house at least maybe like 30 minutes or or the speech whatnot. He was the first one out already.
And speaking of out, I have to go right now. So we'll just wrap it up short and sweet. Thanks to everybody for joining today. I really got to get out of here. I'm going to be late and I can't afford to be late. So we'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to cue the cock and then we're going to get out of here. Sorry. I know I'm cutting it real short, but that's how it goes some days. See you later.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music.